श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तो यहाँ आज को हम सिर्फ गुरु को याद करके थोड़ी भूमिका करेंगे. We will understand the context of this Soundarya Lahari. First shloka is very interesting, but before we go to the shlokas, we have to understand the context of where and how Soundarya Lahari starts. So Soundarya Lahari kiski kriti hai? We all know it is Adi Shankaracharya who has created Soundarya Lahari. And how many verses does it have? Oh, it has 100 verses. Then somebody says, no, it has 103 verses. So वहीं से हम लोग का झगड़ा शुरू हो जाता है. हम लोग कभी भी किसी चीज को एक बार में मानते नहीं. So even number of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after 100 somebody added 3 more shlokas, so it has become 103 shlokas. Basically 100 shlokas. Now out of these 100 shlokas there is a clear division. The first 40 shlokas and the second set of 60 shlokas are very different from each other. First 40 shlokas jo hai, they are more in terms of the what is Devi? What is Devi? How is she to be worshipped? What is the relationship of me, this Atman, with that Paramatman? But from verse number 41, 42, Acharya moves away and starts describing the beauty of Devi. And in such beautiful words that actually this shloka, this 100 shlokas, this work is two parts: Ananda Lahari and Soundarya Lahari. Ananda Lahari and Soundarya Lahari. Now, however, because of the beauty of the shlokas in the latter part, the whole work itself is called Soundarya Lahari. Soundarya Lahari. Now, so that is the overall structure of the work called Soundarya Lahari. 100 shlokas, first 40, second 60. And we know Adi Shankaracharya is the author. Now, what happened? So how did and why did he create this? So firstly, we have to understand that Adi Shankaracharya is a advaita margi. What is an advaita margi? Advaita margi is saying that Ishvara is also a projection of Maya, which means Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara. Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara. And therefore, Ishvara also is a conceptual misunderstanding that we have. So Ishwar ko bhi hame ullang ke, we have to go and reach Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say that he used to get stopped from approaching Brahman by the form of Kali. And then he took the sword of Kali, which is called discrimination, Viveka, and he cut her into two parts. And he proceeded inside, and waves of bliss fell over him. So Ishvara, if he is an Advaiti, then why should he write something which is talking about bhakti? Because bhakti, by definition, means there is a patra for the bhakti and there is a bhakta, which means there is duality. There is dvaita. So why should an Advaiti say that there is duality? So therefore, there is a confusion that arises. See, people who are philosophers, very hardcore philosophers, they try to get into these divisions, small divisions, and then try to explain that Adi Shankaracharya could not have been the author and so on and so forth. a very renowned Sri Vidya Upasak, he says that actually जिन लोग ये बोलते हैं that Adi Shankaracharya could not have been a bhakta also is a person they did not have jnana also. जो ऐसा बोलता है उसको वो ज्ञानी नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि ज्ञान की परम भाषा परम चरण क्या है, परम पद क्या है, प्रहलाद, जो कौन है, परम भक्त है. So param bhakta and param jnani are the same. Hanuman says that when I am thinking of myself as the body, then I am your servant. When I think of myself as a Atman separate from you, then I am your devotee. But when I realize that I am nothing but the Atman itself, then you and I are the same. 3 level पे हनुमान हमें relationship with Ishvara explain करते हैं. So in this way, therefore, when a Soundarya Lahari has been written, it has been written with a specific purpose. It has been written with those purpose that the common man, you and I, who are not jnanis, we need the support of bhakti. We need the support of an external. अभी बीच में हम लोग के घर में करंट गया था, तो there was some planned current outage. Some substation was being repaired. I had to go down because there was some emergency. Somebody got stuck. तो मैं नीचे गया. फिर वापस आते समय सीढ़ी से ऊपर आ रहा था. As you enter the staircase, it is pitch dark. You can't see anything. So you put your hand like that, catch hold of the rail, and you put on the torch. By the time you have reached the first floor, second floor, third floor, then now in the third floor, there is enough light for you to put the torch off. By the time you reach the 8th floor, there is enough light for you to let go of the railings also. Exactly the same way, जब हम ऊपर जाते हैं, we start our journey in complete darkness. That is the time when we need all types of external support. Acharya is very clear about this, and therefore he provides this support to us in the form of various. So he spent his entire life going from place to place, establishing temples, establishing yantras, establishing ritual practices. Why? Because he knew that we, you and I, needed to be uplifted from where we were. And he cannot have gone from there and said, come, let me pull you. No, because only I can raise myself. Uddharet atmana atmanam, chapter 6, verse 5. Uddharet atmana atmanam na atmanam avasadayet. So that this pulling up is by myself. But for that, see, when you want to get up from the chair, when I'm sitting here on a table, on the dining table with a chair and the laptop is in front of me. जब उठना होगा तो क्या करेंगे? टेबल के ऊपर में हाथ रखेंगे और धक्का मार के उठेंगे. So the some support is required, right? That support is what Acharya is providing. So that is the first thing we have to understand. Then the another thing says that so if you want to look at the jnanis who have become or who are also bhaktas, we have Sukdev Maharaj, we have Madhusudan Saraswati, the best translator of the Bhagavad Gita. Then Sadashiva Brahma, Ramakrishna Paramahansa we have already seen. Then Raman Maharshi, without guru, without anything, pure advaita, and from there then he has written huge number of works on Arunachaleshwar, Arunagirinadar. So many of people who have seen, merged, and yet remained at the bhakti level because they needed to explain this to us. So that is the first thing we have to understand. Second, if you read or study some spiritual texts. So what is your experience when you are in this class, for example? What happens to you? In most cases, we will answer that when we go to such a class, not for this class, any class, anywhere you are studying some scripture, spiritual text, at least for that point of time, I felt very calm. At least for that point of time, मुझे बहुत सुकून मिल रहा था, मुझे शांति थी. Why? What is happening? Because during that period of time, the curtain of Maya has been lifted. माया का जो पर्दा है वो उस समय के लिए ऊपर निकल गया. तो जैसे ही वो पर्दा निकल गया तो हमारे अंदर में क्या हुआ? शांति आ गई. शांति और आनंद सेम हम लोगों ने भगवत गीता में भी देखा है, राइट? So which is why in the Nirvana Shatakam, in Bhaja Govindam, Acharya says, Satsangatve Nisangatvam. Start the journey with Satsanga. So that is the second point, where the study is also important from a perspective that it takes us beyond the present level that we can go. Now, the next thing he says, in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that my Maya is very strong. My Maya is very strong and it is difficult to overcome it. So who helps us to overcome it? Only Ishvara himself can overcome his own Maya. And hence, the need for invoking Ishvara, or rather, we will call her Ishwari. So, what is called in Advaita Saguna Brahman or Ishvara, in scriptures, that is called Shakti or Shiva or Vishnu, etc., etc. The Nirguna Brahman in the Shaivite or the Shakta studies, in the Shakta schools, is called Shivam. Shivam. Satyam Shivam Sundaram, Shivam. Nirguna Brahman का भक्ति मार्ग में, शाक्त या शैव भक्ति मार्ग में शिवम, या फिर वैष्णविक मार्ग में उसे परम विष्णु ऐसे नाम से पुकारा जाता है. टू बी डिफरेंशिएटिंग बिटवीन द निर्गुणा एंड द सगुणा. ठीक है, ये मैं बहुत टॉपिक्स आज को एक साथ बात कर रहा हूँ. प्लीज स्टॉप मी wherever you feel that you need further clarification and ask me to repeat or give you some different examples. क्योंकि ये भूमिका समझना, this understanding this context is very important to be able to understand what we are going to study in Soundarya Lahari. So, Saguna Brahman, Parashakti, Devi, ऐसे नामों से ये एक्शनलेस निर्गुण ब्रह्मन का नाम दिया गया. तो निर्गुण ब्रह्मन जब सगुण रूप में एक्शन करता है, जब एक्शन करता है तो हर एक एक्शन भी सगुण ब्रह्मन से ही हो रहा है. We saw this in Brahma Sutra also, right? The Tatastha Lakshana and the Swarupa Lakshana of Ishvara. Meena ji, if you remember. So the Tatastha Lakshana and the Swarupa Lakshana of Ishvara, clearly here it is coming out in the same way. So there is no difference. So what happens? There are two ways to achieve or go beyond the where we are stuck. First is the path of jnana. What is this? This is the path of self-inquiry. Very harsh on oneself by extreme discipline. Questioning, who am I? Where did I come from? Where is this thought even rising? Which is what Ramana Maharshi used to do. Then there is the other path, which is to dedicate all the thoughts and the actions to that Parabrahman with an attitude of devotion. So what happens is, because you have given over the entire set of thoughts, emotions, mind, body, intellect, everything to her, then whatever is happening, you have now assumed, or at least you have understood, deeply believed that it is happening by her will alone. And therefore, there can be nothing negative that is happening. Everything that is happening ultimately to help you towards your end journey. This is a very important point that we have to understand. So therefore, the ultimate prayer that we have is that please take me back into your hand. Please take me back into your hand. So a few days back, I think on one of our groups, I mentioned this. एक बच्चा था, खेल रहा है, ball लेके, he has the ball in his hand. He is very happy. Then he tosses the ball. Yay! Ball comes back in his hand. And the ball jumps. पकड़ लिया. अब बॉल तो पहले से ही उसके हाथ में था, फेंका ही क्यों? फेंका इसीलिए क्योंकि उसको लीला, प्ले, ललिता सहस्त्रनाम में हम लोगों ने क्या नाम देखा था? लीला विनोदिनी, बाला लीला विनोदिनी. So Bala Lila Vinodini, she is like a child who is playing with this universe. So she tosses the ball. So in her extreme happiness, she increases her own happiness. So the goal of bhakti is not to be separate. The goal of bhakti also is to merge the two into one. Now, the problem of jnana is that it is not easy to practice. If I tell you Tattvamasi, you have listened to it. Shravanan हो गया. मननन करने के टाइम में अभी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तत् क्या है, तत्वम क्या है, असी क्या है, इस पर मनन कैसे करूं? Now you have no understanding of how we can go ahead. Then what happens in such a case? Therefore, the whole idea of manan, of nididhyasan can only happen. And when does the moksha arrive at? Ramana Maharshi very clearly says that go to the source of where the thought arises, and the thought will extinguish itself and the mind will be out. But going to that point is not so easy. So, just one second. So therefore, how do we kill this mind which is refusing to be subdued? But if you, what does Arjun say? Arjun says that this mind seems to be very, very difficult to control, right? What do we describe it as? We describe it as a monkey. Chanchala, asthira. These are the words Arjuna uses. Chanchala and asthira. So Chanchala means one place to another, from one branch to another. Our thoughts are thinking, oh, today what will we have for dinner? And then suddenly your thought jumps from there. Acha, tomorrow in the office, I have to meet this person, right? Your thought has already jumped. Chanchala. And then you are trying to hold yourself to, कल मीटिंग में क्या करेंगे, मीटिंग में जब उसको मिलूंगा तब फिर क्या करेंगे, कि ऐसा उसके साथ बात करते वो आदमी ना ऐसा है, खत्म. Now you have started in that, you are in that thought, but you are not focused. Your focus is wavering, asthira. So how do we bring it to one point? So you bring it to one point by creating a focal point. You create a focal point. See, if I want to jump, if I ask you, how can you lift your legs from the ground? So what is the answer? How will you lift? Jump करेंगे तो गिर जाएंगे ना वापस. So what will you do? So you hold the fan. You hold the fan. पंखा पकड़ के लटक जाइए, पैर ऊपर हो गया. Now, if we have to raise ourselves from one point to the other, then we need something to hold on to. See, if you have seen a caterpillar moving from one leaf to another, it will go first catch the next leaf, then it will release the old leaf. Then it will eat that leaf. Then that leaf is over, it will move forward, catch another leaf, then release itself from the old leaf. Our mind is exactly like that. It needs something to be held on to. Until the mind is extinguished completely, it needs something to be holding on to. So instead of holding on to body consciousness, mind consciousness, intellect consciousness, can we hold on to Saguna Brahman in whatever form that you want to think of her? You hold on to something which is bigger than you, which is greater than you, which is why in Bhagavad Gita he says that if your lakshya is bigger than what you are, then you will progress. But if your lakshya it's something which you can hold on to right now, then what is the need to have any effort? So the whole purpose of moving forward is a process of having a goal which is bigger than ourselves. That we are calling here today Saguna Brahman. We call it Parashakti. We call it Devi. We call it Janani. So there are, when we do this complete surrender, there are possibly two results that Paramacharya, Sri Chandrasekhar Saraswati Swamigal, he says that when you do this for total surrender, दो ही उपाय हो सकते हैं. One, she eradicates your mind. And you become Shivoham. Finished. In some other cases, what happens is, she then gives you a different type of realization, and she says, look at all this. This is all my play. This play is appearing to you as real because of my own Maya. I am removing the Maya view. यानी पर्दे के पीछे क्या है, राइट? हिंदी फिल्म में गाना था ना, तो पर्दे के पीछे क्या है, तो नहीं, वो क्या था, चोली के पीछे क्या था, मगर यहाँ हम लोग पर्दे के पीछे क्या है देखेंगे. तो पर्दे के पीछे, माया का पर्दे के पीछे क्या है, that view is clear to me. I can see the curtain. The curtain has now become transparent. I know it is there, but it is irrelevant for me. I am seeing beyond it. In such a view, when I am looking at this world, I become a witness to everything. This is the second possibility. So, so she is very clear. Either I will give you one path, depending upon how ready you are, and which is your direction. She will give you one path, which is Shivoham, or she will make that veil so transparent, she will make that curtain so transparent that you can watch that entire game and say, wow, this is a beautiful game, let me watch it properly. Right? You see all these people nowadays, they are sitting in front of the TV and watching this football game happening. Correct? And they are all behaving as if they are there in Qatar, watching, physically present over there. Same way, with full involvement and no attachment, you are able to participate in the play of the world. That is the second outcome that can be possible by her, surrendering to her. So, and very clearly, I have told you, when I was Krishna, that time I told you, Mama Maya Duratyaya, right? My Maya is very difficult to cross. I have told you, my power is Devi. It is so. You also have the same power, but unfortunately, आपके पास उस पावर का छोटा सा अंश है. तुम जीवात्मा हो, क्योंकि तुमने बॉडी, माइंड, इंटेलेक्ट से अपने आप को आइडेंटिफाई करके रखा है, तो इसीलिए तुम्हारे पास वो पावर एकदम छोटा है. उससे कारण तुम इस दुनिया को इरेडिकेट नहीं कर सकते, तुम इस माया को इरेडिकेट नहीं कर सकते, और उस माया के ऊपर तुम बैठ के रो रहे हो. तुमको रोने की जरूरत नहीं है. You understand that this Maya has been made by me. It is not in your power to remove that Maya, but when you surrender unto me, then I remove that Maya for you. Paramacharya, when he was explaining this part, Soundarya Lahari, he has explained it as if he was speaking as he was Devi. For those who were physically present over there, you can imagine how powerful that lecture would have been. So that is the first part of the understanding of what Soundarya Lahari is. Now, why does a Jivan Mukta also display bhakti then? So you and I we are wanting enlightenment. So we understand that if we do the study, we study the scriptures, we follow the practices, we do our sadhana, we are going towards enlightenment, we feel the joy. But what about Ramakrishna Paramahansa? Why would he do a worship? Why will Ramana Maharshi write poems and poems about Arunachaleshwara? So he shows this bhakti just for the purpose of the bhakti itself. Ahetuk bhakti. Ahetuk bhakti. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam being the Purana Bhagavatam, he says, Kurvanti ahetukim bhaktim. Without any reason, Kurvanti, doing, ahetukim. Ahetukim means without any reason, bhakti. Who does such a bhakti? Atma Ramascha Munayaha. Atma Rama, जो अपने आप के अंदर में खेलते हैं. Atma Rama, Munayaha, Munis. Nirgrantha, they have crossed all the books. They have crossed all the attachments, knots. Grantha also means knot. Knots. Api Urukrame, they have crossed all of it. Kurvanti ahetuk bhaktim. Itam bhuta guno harihi. This happens to them and naturally they start doing this. So we are worshipping this param for the purpose of achieving enlightenment. The enlightened is worshipping for the purpose of worshipping alone. So we continually have to do this practice is the third learning. Then Paramacharya also says that if a jnani writes a book on jnana, then he has also to write a book on bhakti, because jnana and bhakti cannot go without each other. Because compassion is the natural behavior of Saguna Brahman. And it is that same Saguna Brahman that is prodding him to write that particular hymn or book about jnana. Then he has to have a devotion towards it also. So he gets rid of his kartritva buddhi. We have seen, right? Kartritva, karta evam bhokta bhavati. So he gets rid of his kartritva buddhi. And he does all his work for loka sangrahartham. Loka sangrahartham. He does his work for the benefit of others. So the whole purpose of why we are studying Soundarya Lahari is to be able to understand that the blessing of being able to study it also has come from her. And we are not studying. It is being given to us. So the Loka Kalyanam, Loka Sangraha, that is the purpose. We are studying this only for the purpose of the beauty of the purpose itself. Usko hum koi material benefit ke liye nahi padna. There are basically, if you look at works on Devi, firstly, the oldest work that we know of is called Lalita Stava Ratnam. Lalita Stava Ratnam. This has been written by Durvasa Muni. In Lalita Ashtotram, there is a name which says Kumbodbhava Durvasa Pujita, something similar. Durvasa जो है वो कुंभ के अंदर में जन्मे थे, तो इसलिए कुंभोद्भव और दुर्वासा किसे जिन्होंने जिनको पूजा. Durvasa was one of the great devotees of Devi. So, have I told you the story of how Durvasa got a mala? Samudra Manthan क्यों हुआ था? बताया था कभी कहानी? So Samudra Manthan happened because of Durvasa. What happened is the Shukracharya had got Mrita Sanjeevani. Mrita Sanjeevani का उसको वरदान शिव भगवान ने दे दिया था. So the asuras will not die. Asuras will not die. Because every time they die, Shukracharya comes, does Mrita Sanjeevani, they come back alive. So who is going to win in the battle? Obviously the Devas are going to lose. So the Devas went to Vishnu. Vishnu said, take all the medicinal plants and put them into the sea and make, we have to churn the sea. But that happened later. Why did that happen? Why did the Devas lose power? Because one day, Durvasa, after doing a Ghora tapasya of Devi, Devi came in front of him. So, and Devi said, what do you want? So he said, I have seen you. What else can I want? और क्या चाहिए मुझे? मैंने आपको सामने साक्षात इस शरीर से आपको देख लिया, आप मनस से आपको देख लिया, बुद्धि से आपको देख लिया, और क्या चाहिए? देवी भी खूब प्रसन्न हो गई. उन्होंने अपने गले से माला निकाल के दुर्वासा के ऊपर डाल दी और बोली ये लो प्रसाद, और वहां से चली गई. दुर्वासा बहुत खुश होकर वो माला लेकर वहां से जा रहा. तो in the meanwhile, Indra was coming, sitting on his elephant, full of pride, and the garland was in Durvasa's hand. Durvasa stopped Indra. Indra did not get down from the elephant also, even although he's met Durvasa, who is such a great Muni, Amsha of Shiva. वो नीचे नहीं उतरा. हाँ बोलिए, हे मुनिराज, क्या चाहिए आपको? बोले मुझे चाहिए कुछ नहीं, मैं तुमको देने के लिए आया हूँ, देवी का प्रसाद है, ये लो. तो उन्होंने माला ली. ये क्या, कौन सी माला है? उन्होंने ऐरावत के ऊपर में डाल दी. माला इटर्नल फ्लावर्स से बनी हुई थी. उसकी सुगंध के कारण मक्खियां, मधुमक्खियां आकर उसके आजू बाजू में, they were all going around the flowers. Now, if a madhumakhi comes near an elephant, it gets disturbed. So the Airavat took that mala and he threw it on the ground and he rubbed it with his feet. Durvasa got very angry. We all know Durvasa को तो जल्दी से गुस्सा आता है, तो उन्होंने श्राप दिया कि तुमने देवी का प्रसाद को ठुकराया तो तुम्हारे ऊपर से जितनी इस दुनिया में जितनी ऐश्वर्य के ऊपर तुम राज कर रहे हो, वो ऐश्वर्य यहाँ से लुप्त हो जाएगी. बोला नहीं कि वहां विष्णु को पैर दबा रही थी लक्ष्मी. Suddenly Lakshmi vanished, and along with Lakshmi, Vishnu had all the ornaments on his body. All the ornaments also vanished, because all the Aishwarya that is there, controlled under the Indra's governance, everything everywhere in the world, all of it vanished. That's when the Devas became completely powerless. That's when they went to Vishnu, and then the whole Samudra Manthan happened. Because in the Samudra Manthan, Vishnu का भी vested interest था. उसको पता था ये मंथन करेंगे तो वहां से लक्ष्मी वापस आएगी, तो उनको भी अपना इंटरेस्ट था ना उसमें. तो उन्होंने समुद्र मंथन करवाया और लक्ष्मी का वहां से उत्पन्न हुआ. इसीलिए उसको चंद्र सहोदरी कहते हैं. चंद्र सहोदरी क्यों? क्योंकि चंद्र का भी उत्पत्ति समुद्र में से ही हुआ है. तो चंद्र सहोदरी, उसको सागरोत्पन्ना लक्ष्मी को कहते हैं. सागर से उत्पन्न हुई है, तो इसीलिए उसे सागरोत्पन्ना कहते हैं. तो she was born out of that, and she accepted Vishnu as her wife, as her husband. So clearly we see that Arya Dvishati or Lalita Stavaratnam is a 200 shlokas का एक बड़ा कृति है, in which he is Durvasa Muni has written in honor of Devi. Then there is a second work that we know of, which is called the Soundarya Lahari, which has 100. And there is a third, it is called the Muka Panchashati. Muka Panchashati. Muka was one of the Shankaracharyas of Kanchi. He was born dumb, but Devi made him speak, and he wrote 500 verses in honor of, in praise of Devi. Muka Panchashati. So,
excuse me, my phone went dead for a couple of minutes. Now, about whom you are talking?
I'm talking of Muka Panchashati. This is the third big work on Devi.
Written by?
By the poet called Muka. Muka is actually, he was actually also a Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Math. So, and he was born dumb, but he could speak with the blessings of Devi, and he wrote a stava which is called Muka Panchashati, 500 shlokas in the praise of Devi. Now, Durvasa's Arya Dvishati or the Lalita Stavaratnam is basically Sri Chakra के complexity उसका जो structure है उसको वो बहुत beautifully उसके अंदर में explain करते हैं. Then the Mukha Panchashati I have just now told you, and the third one, in my opinion the best one, is the Soundarya Lahari, which is again, as I said, has two parts. Now, where did it come from? So the first 41 shlokas, okay, they more or less the whole of the Soundarya Lahari has been written in शिखरिणी. जैसे हम लोगों ने देखा ना, बहुत सारे जो छंद हैं, गायत्री छंद, उष्णिक छंद, त्रिष्टुप छंद, अनुष्टुप छंद, ऐसे हम लोगों ने छंद देखे. तो यहाँ एक शिखरिणी करके एक छंद है. It is supposed to be one of the most complex chandas, and it has 17 syllables in one line. 17, right? So 17 syllables are there in one line, and it is therefore, and it is called Shikharini, and it has been written mostly in the Shikharini form. So 17 syllables into 4 lines, so that is 34 and 34, 68 syllables का ये है. Now so Shankaracharya इसको लिखे, कैसे लिखे, how did it come about? Again, there are some stories about it. The first part of the story is that Shankaracharya went to, there are multiple stories. Which one is true, we don't know. The first part is that he went to Kailash. Adi Shankaracharya went to Kailash, and on the walls of the cave of Kailash, Bhagawan Bhagawan Shiv had written shlokas in describing the beauty of Devi. When Adi Shankara reached that cave, Shiva did not want those shlokas to be read by a normal human being. So he erased all of it. But Adi Shankaracharya himself was a amsha of Shiva himself. So he just looked at it, he remembered it. And having remembered it, when he came back to earth, he reconstructed the entire 100 shlokas from there. That is one story. The other story it says is that he went there, he praised Shiva and Parvati. He created the Ardhanarishwar Stotra. So, because he saw them together, he created the Ardhanarishwar Stotra. Both of them were very happy with him, and they gave him this work. पत्र में लिख के उसको दे दिया. जब वो लेकर वापस आ रहे थे, तो नंदी उस पत्तों के जो ग्रंथि थी, ग्रंथ के ऊपर झपटे, and said, "You can't take this." So they struggled. Both of them were pulling it. 300 shlokas went with Nandi. 100 he brought back. Nandi's logic was, if anybody reads these 400 shlokas in one go, then he will immediately attain moksha. The working of this world itself will stop, and hence you cannot take it to the earth. So please don't take it. Adi Shankaracharya said, "No, I will take it." And they started fighting. And 100 shlokas Adi Shankaracharya brought back. So itna beautiful kahani hai ki basically why? Because in the 100th shloka, he very beautifully says that Twadeyabhir Vagibhi Tava Janani Vacham Stutiriyam. He says that this composition is not mine. It has come from you. You alone have made this happen. This could not have happened without your grace. You alone have made this 100 shlokas be written. So Acharya has not only had a darshan of Devi in his work, he has given us the darshan also by when we read this and we understand it. Another thing is, many people have understood that the Soundarya Lahari is also a tantric work. उसके अंदर में तंत्र भी है. तो तंत्र कैसे है कि हर एक श्लोक के साथ उसका एक यंत्र भी है. There is a yantra attached to each shloka. So, for example, for the first shloka, you draw a square, take a gold plate, draw a square, then on the corners you make loops. ऐसे loop बनाइए, बीच में क्लीम लिखिए, क्लौम लिखिए, sit facing east, put the yantra in front of you, worship, bring 1000 hibiscus flowers, chant the first stotra, first shloka, offer 1 hibiscus flower, do this 1000 times. After the offering is over, then make an offering of grated coconut with jaggery and ghee. So basically nariyal ka laddu. You offer nariyal ka laddu. Do this for 12 days and you will achieve whatever goal you want to achieve in this world. Now, Tantra is not wrong. Tantra is the means of where we are using our body to overcome the body itself. Right? But in Advaita, we say the body is irrelevant. तो हम लोग ये 100 श्लोकास के 100 यंत्र और उसके क्या प्रयोग है और उसको कैसे बैठ के करना है, वो सब लोग नहीं सीखेंगे, क्योंकि ये हमारे लिए कंप्लीटली इररिलेवेंट है. हमें देवी की अद्भुत ब्यूटी के अंदर में, अद्भुत शक्तियों के अंदर में, वी हैव टू बी इनसाइड दैट एंड एंजॉय दैट फॉर अस. दैट is what Soundarya Lahari is. Her name, one of the names that we know is Sundari, right? Maha Tripura Sundari in Lalita Sahasranam. She is Sri Vidya, right? She is Parvati, Durga, Kali, Bala, Bhuvaneshwari, etc., etc. Another very important thing is when Devi is worshipped, how do we worship her? We worship her in the Sri Chakra, in the Lalita. We have seen Kameshwara, Kameshwari. They are the first couple. Why? Because when the Nirguna Brahman was there, the first thing that happened for the creation to happen was a desire. What is desire? Kama. Kama. And therefore the Nirguna Brahman divided into 2 parts called Kameshwara and Kameshwari. They are the original couple, Kameshwara and Kameshwari. Lalita Sahasranam very clearly explains this to us. But there are certain, and as far as Tripura Sundari is concerned, she is also called Shodashi. And Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, Devi ke sare forms मैंने देखे हुए हैं, मगर Shodashi के जितना सुंदर form मैंने कभी नहीं देखा. And that form is what Acharya Shankaracharya is going to bring in front of us. So he begins in the first shloka itself by naming the first shloka with Shiva. Shiva Shaktya Yukta. Shiva Shaktya Yukta. That is how the first shloka begins. Shiva here is the Nirguna Brahman. Shakti is the power of that Nirguna Brahman. Yukta, when they are joined means they have to be first separate to be joining. Only then can anything, any creation happen. That is the meaning of the first shloka. The first shloka which I have sent on the group, you can see that it says, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum शिव शक्त्या युक्तो यदि भवति शक्तः प्रभवितुम न चेदेवं देवो न खलु कुशलः स्पंदितुमपि. Spandanam, vibration. Spandanam, vibration. So what Acharya is saying here is that Shiva becomes able to do the act of creation also only when the vibration happens inside. Spandanam. Spandanam happens inside you. Atasva maradhyam harihara virinchadibhirapi. Harihara virinchadibhirapi. Now, he uses the word Shiva, he uses the word Harihara Virinchi. Virinchi means Brahma. So, Aradhyam. So, Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchadibhirapi. These three are worshipping him. Why? Where is the difference between Shiva and Hara? Now here there is a very interesting thing. You see, we all know there are three very clear activities of Brahman. The first activity, creation. Second activity, sustenance. Third activity of destruction. Right? Then there are two more activities. Tirodhan, covering, right? And moksha, giving freedom. These two activities are also the activities of Brahman. Now, what did Devi do? Devi assigned these jobs to these five people. Panchapreta samasina, right? We say she is Panchapreta sanasina. She is sitting on 5 ghosts. Why is she sitting on 5 ghosts? Because they cannot work without her energy. Who are the 5? We have seen already. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Ishana and Rudra. Right? Or Sadashiva, sorry. Ishana and Sadashiva. Rudra or Hara. So here she gives clearly the division of work that is brought out in the first chapter, in the first verse. Hari Hara Virinchadirabhirapi. All the devas, they are all worshipping you. And Hari Hara Brahma, the first 3 of the greatest of the great, they are also sitting here and praying to you. Pranatum stotum va, next last line. Pranatum stotum va kathamakrita punya prabhavati. So, one who has not done any good deeds, pranatum stotum va katham krita punya prabhavati. So, anybody who has not done good deeds, how can that person get the power to even worship you? You who are worshipped by the greats such as Hari, Hara, Virinchi and Shiva, who cannot function without you, without whose energy, without whose vibration also is not possible in him. Nirguna Brahman becomes Saguna Brahman only with your power, with your vibration. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Na Chedevam Devo Na Khalu Kushala Spanditum Api Atastvam Maradhyam Harihara Virinchadi Bhirapi Pranatum Stotum Va Kathamakrita Punya Prabhavati. Now, if you go to Google and if you look at YouTube, आपको ये सौंदर्य लहरी के स्तोत्र जो है, you will find in multiple tunes, in multiple songs, in multiple various ways. We can learn any tune or song that is wanted. What is important is for us to understand their words, understand them, read them again and again, and do manan about them. इन पर मनन करना बहुत important है. So here he again, let me repeat, he says, शिव शक्त्या युक्तो यदि भवति शक्तः प्रभवितुम. उनके अंदर में शिव शक्ति के साथ युक्त जब तक नहीं होता, तब तक उसके अंदर में कोई क्या नहीं होता है. न च देवम देवो न खलु कुशल स्पंदितुम अपि. एक स्पंदन भी उनके अंदर में पॉसिबल नहीं है. अतस्त्वम आराध्यम हरिहर विरिंचादिभिरपि. जिसको हरि हर ब्रह्मा इनको ये जिसकी पूजा करते हैं उनको प्रणतुम स्तोतुम वा कौन सी स्तुति कौन सी प्रणाम प्रणाम इसको मैं करूं, कौन कर सकता है जिसके अंदर में कथम कृत पुण्य प्रभवती, जिसके अंदर में पुण्य कहीं नहीं है, जो जिसने पुण्य नहीं किया हो वो कैसे उसकी पूजा कर सकता है। Is Acharya saying that I have done a lot of good deeds, so I am now able to do it? No, in the 100th shloka he said, I did not do any worship for you. I did not create this stotra for you. You created only through me. So to this all-powerful deity, to this all-powerful divine mother, we have to pray that she will allow us to complete this study of her wonderful scripture, Soundarya Lahari, through the works of Acharya, supported by the various commentaries on various shlokas by Paramacharya himself. So taking all that together, we shall study this. We shall pray to her favorite son that he allows this to happen without any vigna. So we will today end the session with a prayer to Ganesha. So let us pray to him that he will allow us to do this 100 shlokas without any vigna. Let us go through the whole flow and let us be immersed in her beauty, in her glory always. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Om Sri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
If it is okay, I just felt like it. I know only this one stanza ragam. So will there be time now or better not?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So this is, as you said, one of the tunes which I had heard and liked very much. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakhalu Kushalah Spanditumapi Atastvam Aradhyam Harihara Virinchadi Birapi Pranantum Stotum Va Kathama Kruta Punyaha Prabhavati.
आपके बिजनेस का भी डुप्लीकेट हो गया तो?
Hello.
So thank you, very nice. So I would request all of you to go through the shloka, do manan on it, and then we shall continue with this. Today, just quickly, we will do the third shloka of the Rajarajeshwari Stotram, which is also, I forgot that we were supposed to do this. So it's a very simple shloka. Ambanupur Ratna Kankanadhari Keyura Haravali Jati Champaka Vaijayanti Lahari Graiveya Vairajitam Veena Venu Vinoda Manditakara Virasane Samstita Chidrupi Paradevata Bhagavati Shri Rajarajeshwari. So here we say Ambanupura Ratna Kankanadhari Keyura Haravali. Keyura armband, Hara, right? Nupura Kankana. So she is wearing all these beautiful ornaments. Jati Champaka Vaijayanti Lahari. So the garland she wears, it is made of Jati Champaka Vaijayanti Graiveka virajita. Griva is the neck. Graiveka virajita. Veena Venu Vinoda Manditakara. Kara, hands. Veena, the Veena. Venu, flute. She is holding, and Virasane Virajita, Samstita. Virasana is sitting with one leg, the left leg folded, left or right, left leg folded into the groin area, and the right leg put down on the earth, or the reverse, whichever. One leg up, one leg down, sitting like that. We have seen such photographs of Devi. So that is called the Virasana. Virasena, Virasane Samstita. Virasane Samstita. Veena Venu Viduddhamanditakara Virasane Samstita. Chidrupi Paradevata Bhagavati Shri Rajarajeshwari. So this is the third shloka. Hari Om.